Avengers Endgame was a monumental occasion that demanded billions of dollars at the box office. Normally, a movie is considered a success if it makes $250 million. Avengers went on to make over $2 billion with its powerful assembly of beloved characters and about 10 years of built-up storytelling. Spider-Man Far From Home seeks to be the dessert with the 5-course meal of the final phase for the Marvel Project movies. Did the dessert live up to expectations? Short answer, not really. Long answer, Spider-Man's newest outing plays it safe and sitcomming with lighter stakes, even when there's more destruction on screen than the prior Endgame movie. You won't dislike or hate the movie, but you'll really feel like it's leaving something on the table. It's not the best or the second best of the Spider-Man films and falls short of anything chiefly spectacular. Spider-Man Far From Home takes Peter Parker on a worldwide trip, mostly as an excuse to take him out of his element and showcase great spots around the world that willingly contributed to tax breaks in production. It's a great backdrop instead of the constant bombardment of New York skylines, even if some will devotedly dislike the famous, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man leaving his humble city abode. The entire tone of the movie is focused on cleaning up left-hanging threads and moving on for the somber feelings of the finale scene in the prior Endgame film. You can tell directors were tasked with ensuring viewers that the upcoming films will be lighter, one-off ideas, and less building to a final bad villain and his MacGuffin. We're back to an assumed schedule of light movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe that open with a villain, an expected yet telegraphed event, a sad feeling of loss, and the hero's journey of using some new ability to save the day amongst the explosions and catastrophe. The formula is well worn and doesn't take the Endgame or Infinity War approach of mixing things up. The new movie just has a feeling of bland approachableness, safeness for most of its first act. The light romp and carefreeness are so adorably friendly that you will feel like you're watching a sitcom in its premiere season. The sudden and abrupt run-in with over-the-top elemental creatures and the ensuing subpar action of destruction and uninspired acrobatics, besides a shot here and there of street-level parkour, come off out of place even if people in the world now take it all in stride. There's a subtle hint and a shout-out that leans on the comic book-like world Marvel now inhabits. Gone are the days of grounded superhero affairs, as people in this universe assume anything is possible and weird is the new norm. It could be assumed that the public recited harsh penalties that the prior accords created in Captain America Civil War about superheroes and their actions needing to be government sanctions, as the Avengers are seen as heroes for fighting off otherworldly threats from aliens. Spider-Man has little threat from being arrested or appearing or attacking giant creatures throughout the movie. A bunch of other statements or actions of characters infer drastic changes for the tone of the new phase in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's a new world, and the characters in it have adapted to everything wonderfully. But that's not to say many viewers will as well. The new era of taking a comic book film seriously thankfully formed after the Dark Knight trilogy, and with its darker tone came more serious directors and studios willing to invest hundreds of millions of dollars in production and quality actors. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has veered in the opposite direction, back into extremely fun yet childish entertainment. Your mileage on this change from more grounded materials seen in other Marvel affairs like Captain America Winter Soldier or Iron Man's outings could vary. Spider-Man Far From Home does a decent job bringing the gap and providing down-to-earth teen melodrama while adding flavor to the already expansive Marvel world. The world has drastically changed in Marvel, from semi-similar to our world in advancements to a full-on comic book level of silliness. Civilians are fully aware just about anything flies now after their sudden decimation and blimp from Infinity War and Endgame. The strange blimp event, as the characters call it, gets played for obvious laughs, as you many would expect. Altogether, the movie does a great job of fixing things to a status quo in the first half and making superhero and spectacle so ubiquitous that even the irresponsible nature of teachers taking children on obviously jeopardized and dangerous trips where giant flaming creatures and water demons keep attacking is just still able to be hand-waved past as they briskly travel to a new destination. The movie keeps jumping between the three plot points so much that you don't take time to even notice how dumb the exposition about what's going on is during the middle of the act. The movie gains the benefit of a doubt on anything strange occurring and characters just reacting like it's another Tuesday. It almost mimics our real-life take on events seen on the news that bombard us with one crazy thing after another. Eventually, all the issues just run together. We get jaded and go on with our lives as if it's the new status quo that thousands of people are hit by a tsunami in another country or a tornado lifts up homes in some plains. The elementals are forces of nature that are destructive and awe-inspiring, but much like people in the film, you're easily able to forget or move on once they are gone and you have a false pretense of safety. People even stop to take out their phones and document such dangerous events, which years ago would seem strange and out of place but is now realistic. Luckily, the movie pulls you back in with the second half. There's little fanfare to the colossal beasts since they hold no human elements or overacting narrative that's strong enough to attach to their presence. The villains finally get some charisma to push the story further. You can assume the beasts in their weak or dry explanation was purposefully unremarkable or strangely vague. The villain mostly expositions their way to sell their actions with big proclamations that in other movies wouldn't work as well. Yet, with 10 years of Marvel movies to bolster recurring plots, we get a surprisingly good callback intertwined into the plot that even the most dedicated fans will not realize until it's too late. Much of the second part of the movie has not been showcased in trailers for good reason. It is where the meat of the villain's pathos occurs and the biggest draw. Comic fans, or those even the least bit savvy, will notice key elements that give away certain plot threads. I won't spoil anything, but I want to address how much the second part feels fresher and wakes the movie up from its meandering plot. The plot drags because we already know too much about the main cast and their inevitable romantic feelings. The romance is played as something of prime importance that even outtakes Peter's great sense of responsibility to help those he can with his powers. The feeling that he's tired after the incredible spectacle of spaceships and fighting aliens is expected and well realized by exasperated groans from Peter about needing to fight more monstrosities. Unfortunately, his simple plan to gain the affection of his socially awkward class crush is fluff, and never leaps further than that bare basic plot. I will commend the movie for never injecting an unnecessary breakup or angry misunderstanding subplot, since the children act fairly adult and talk out their issues. Even a minor cover-up for displaying emotions and keeping secrets is quickly fixed or tensionlessly and used lightheartedly. Since the tension never builds with the relationship, the action tries to put the classmates in peril as all the colossal elementals attack cities they venture towards. Convenient plot devices are used to group the students into Spider-Man's adventure. We have Evans thrown literally into the hands of one student, while a strangely specific gift from Tony Stark is given to Peter the next. There's just one hand-waved event after another that seems a bit silly and lazy. For every part that seems lazy, there are subversions to what you expect. The movie is a mixed bag of treats, little jokes and mishaps that you expect to jeopardize the relationship of the two main cast are played around and twisted enough to seem more genuine. Additionally, the film will reiterate the status quo in one scene, then throw it out by the end of the movie. They play with your expectations by giving you what you expect, then pulling it away the next. You're constantly being toyed with so much that you begin overthinking the final few scenes. The CGI is fantastic for such a simple palate cleanser. Even if the giant creatures aren't to your liking, There is a multitude of amazing and creative action set pieces not shown in any trailer. It's another feat of genius that Marvel can still create inventive visuals like in Doctor Strange. These later scenes are stripped from several sources of comics and television shows, yet they are compounded with smart touches to make it a special treat for this movie. The villain provides a change of pace as we are given someone who must find more ways to fight Spider-Man, given Spider-Man is capable of taking hits from Thanos. Earthly threats don't seem worthy until you see the creative ways the threat escalates in the second half of the film. The heart of the movie was the charming interactions. Even if I grew somewhat impatient as the main threat wasn't originally particularly interesting, there's a host of hit and miss jokes that try to liven up the somewhat dull cast of children merely going on vacation. When the action was not originally exciting enough, I latched onto the romantic subplot like many will, and I found I couldn't care much, even if the couple's relationship was obviously played well and relatable. The romantic threat never came off as a great hindrance, which was also a point of subversion as he was an obvious foil, large, attractive, and cool, yet he was all the things that more critical thinking MJ wouldn't pine for instinctually. Also, merely being Spider-Man with six-pack abs, a genius intelligence among other geniuses, looks good enough to already date a popular, sought-after crush in a prior movie, and more, made the relationship drama less impactful and more just waiting for the next inevitable point to occur. It functioned by the books, even though there was enough clever diversions that I never felt the romance was much more than any other average teen romance movie storyline. It's hard to pinpoint what exactly makes the movie so borderline. It feels almost focus tested, with one plot point to insert a costume change for toy merchandising here, and a snappy reminder of a prior Avenger inserted here, and an explosion here and there for good measure. It's when the movie pulls itself away from the mold of simple plotting that I felt most invested. I reveled in excitement when there was time diverted to minor details like the unique talents of Spider-Man's entire repertoire, including his spidey senses, or the haphazard realization that he feels pain even though he's strong. The anxiety you feel seeing his childhood expression of fear and unease about what he should do to live up to everyone's expectations, his dulled eyes focusing on images of his idol Iron Man, the brilliant status-changing events in the movie's ending, all these compounded into great parts of a somewhat mediocre screenplay, with a good excuse to dazzle you with sightseeing when they're not willing to write interesting moments between characters. The movie is not as enjoyable as other Spider-Man outings, like Into the Spider-Verse, and comes off like a fine addition that does well enough, but even with the stellar second half, the movie never distances itself away from weaker elements. I would suggest watching this movie, but be prepared to forget most of it within a few weeks, and no other live-action Spider-Man films exist that aren't better in every aspect, but are better overall plots with more substance and vital things to say. 60%.